Giving Forest with Yogi and the Bear, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific on the Good Vibrations channel on E360 TV. Join us while we chat with fascinating people doing great things for our world. Hello, everybody. We are live for our first episode, our first season. We have some amazing people with us that I've been fortunate to know for a very long time. We have Elevate Phoenix with us, and we're going to let them introduce themselves as well. And then we have a legend with Meyers, Drysdale, which is on with us, and she's been working with Elevate Phoenix for as long as I've known Elevate Phoenix, and we're excited to go over everything. So welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for showing up.
Woo-hoo! Thank you
for having us.
So I guess the first thing we want to find out for all of the people that don't know who Elevate Phoenix is and what you do, maybe that's something, Ms. D, you can, introduce yourself, who you are. Maybe we could start with you explaining that.
Absolutely. So if I get long with it, you guys just go like this. Time out, stop. My name is Dalila Gamper, and I serve as the executive director for Elevate Phoenix. The best way I know how to describe what we do is we do life with kids. And so with the high school area in that space, we teach character qualities, life skills, leadership development, and those kids ingrain it even more in themselves by going down to the elementary feeder school, and they teach those kids what they're learning at that level. So basically our program hits from second grade through junior high and through high school and post and beyond that into post-secondary. So with that, we really walk alongside kids. We never want to replace any, parent or another teacher. We come alongside to help them in every aspect of life. We're wraparound. So not only academically, but we care about the whole child, so that we're looking at social and emotional learning and the space that they're in that. If they're dealing with traumatic, different situations, maybe at home. So we look at the whole kid. So we do the good, the bad, the ugly, the pretty, we do it all. I got lots of kids, right? When they graduate, it doesn't stop there. They get to be with Miss Jazz. So she not only serves as our director, she also serves as adjunct faculty within the community college sector. So she gets to be their first try it on teacher. So when we, just like I tell my own kids, I tell them, you can't tell me you don't like something till you try it first, right? And so with college, it's the same thing. Try it on, see if it fits. And so Ms. Jazz gets to teach them in that space. They take communications. It's a 5-week course, and it's commitment on their part, because they graduate and they start that Monday after Memorial Day. So we're with them in that space, just kind of leading and guiding and showing that, maybe this is a space they haven't navigated before. Well, let's show you how to do that. Let's see where all the help can come from, whether it's in the tutoring space for English or math, or if it's, helping them network with our own networks. And so the businesses come down and get to introduce themselves, what they do, different opportunities they have for students. And so with that, we say every kid walks out of this space, either maybe college is for them, maybe it's not, maybe it's trade school or certificate program, or maybe it's the military. They always had a niche in that space. So let's get you connected in that space. And maybe it's, I have to work. I need to be part of the workforce. Okay, well, let's get you involved in a space that'll give you and allow you space to grow. So it's not a dead end job or anything like that. And so whatever it is that it takes for kids to be successful, we want to walk alongside and do life with them to help them get there. So try to remove as many obstacles as possible and equip them the best way that we can, so that they can have successful lives, and that just engrafts in the community. So it doesn't stop there. It goes on and bleeds into their families, which bleeds into the community.
So it was kind of a segue when you were talking about Miss Jasmine. So maybe Miss Jasmine can jump in and kind of explain the next part, Rise program, all of that good stuff, Miss Jazz.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm excited because as Ms. Dew is already saying, this all starts because of the heart of what we do. We know the schools and our partnership with the biggest district in Arizona. So the Phoenix Union High School District is where our MOU or Memorandum of Understanding is with. And we start, if we are brand spanking new and a first time going into a school, we actually talk to the counselors, and the counselors knows exactly what we do. They know what we're a part of and how we're trying to make a difference. So we tell them, hey, give us this mixed bag of nuts. So they say, okay, well, here's a couple people who, like Ms. D said, they can go either way. They're that C, D average student, but, it just depends. And then we said, hey, can we also get a few natural born leaders? They may not be using their leadership skills for all the great things as of yet, but they are natural leaders. And then we have that last case ditch effort. These are the kids that the counselors are putting into our classes that are dropping out at 52%. Wow. And so if we don't help them, they're saying we're losing them, right? And that is not our heart to lose a single one of our kids. And we see so many dysfunctions within the schools, and it's so easy for those kids to fall between the cracks. And that's where Elevate is there to step in and provide the space.
Awesome. Well, thank you for giving us a break there. And guess what? Ann Meyers Drysdale, I'm a big fanboy. I can't say enough nice things about you. And, obviously, we want to hear about how you got involved, what you think about it, but then obviously, most importantly, so what you do, your luncheon, how that's grown. But just please give a little bit for the people who don't know who you are. Please give us.
There's people that don't know who Annie is.
That's impossible. You can't.
I'm so sorry. but she's so humble. You know what I mean? She is. I know she's not going to pat herself on the back and really say how great she is. So, but if you would, Annie, thanks so much.
We'll do that.
We could do that.
Perfect. 2007, I was hired by the Phoenix Suns and Mercury, and I was hired as a Mercury general manager. And right now, I'm with the Suns and Mercury as vice president and broadcaster for both teams. But when I got here in 2007, I'd been working for ESPN for over 20 years, and as a broadcaster. But it came in as a general manager and was so excited. We had such a great team, and just looking for a lot of different nonprofits to get involved with. And so Elevate Phoenix was just starting. They came to the arena, which is Footprint Center now. And it was, I remember Alvin Adams was going in, and I had a lot of respect for him because he was somebody that I had seen play, and he played against my brother in the NBA and so forth. And sitting down at this meeting, Tom Lehman, which was his brainchild, and but there was a lot of diversity at the table. And that really impressed me because, a lot of times we get caught up in it just with the white society. And but we know that this is a country that is much more than that. And so seeing the diversity and can I not think of Tim's last name, guys?
Cleary.
Tim Cleary. Tim Cleary. He was there too. And so it just, the heart and soul grabbed me. And so certainly being involved with Delilah and Jazz, and you see their enthusiasm. How could you not be excited to be involved with something like this? And certainly the big thing too, it's a curriculum. It is a curriculum in these schools. It's not just like a big brother, big sister, whatever. And the thing that fascinates me this day is that how these women and men are in the lives of these children, the young children, young adults, 24/7. And I know for a lot of these kids that have got, even before they kind of started Elevate Phoenix in the schools, they were at dead ends in their lives. I mean, their lives were over. Where were they going to go? The adversity and the just trauma that they were facing in their lives. And then when you have somebody like Jazz and Delilah and so many others that could get a call at 3:00 in the morning and said, I'll be there. I'm there for you. And as they said, we've got 5 or 6 that have come back, and now they are mentors. And to give back and to make a difference in a child's life and to see them grow has been so heartwarming for me to be a part of. I have 3 siblings that have been educators, teachers, and 2 of them have passed. My brother David, who played in the NBA, and my sister Patty, who taught for 30 years. They have both passed. And So we've been kind enough through Elevate Phoenix to start the Dare to Dream luncheon that it started out as a breakfast and a luncheon that we honor teachers in honoring my brother and my sister, and just the community being involved and hearing the stories that we have our high school kids come and they speak to, whether it's the bankers or the firefighters or the police or council people and people that run stores and so forth. They're hearing the stories of these lives in a 10-minute span, and yet the impact that they make on our community, and then for them to go on and basically thinking, I'm sure when they were probably 10, 11, 12, 13, that they had no chance in furthering their education, or told that they couldn't go on or weren't smart enough. And, don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can. And they are all so talented. They all have a gift. And the fact that Elevate Phoenix opens their minds and opens their hearts to say, I believe in myself, and so do other people in Elevate Phoenix. And I just see the dreams come true for a lot of these kids, whether they want to go on into music or become a chef. And we see it over and over and over, but they always come back. And I think that the relationships that have been developed have been so important. And it starts with Tom Lehman and Tim Cleary and Delilah and Jazz and so many others that give back.
It's an amazing vision Tom had, and the execution is just unbelievable. That's what really got me, because I understood it and I got it. Jasmine was tearing her eyes. We came back from the podcast. She was tearing. I was right there with you.
Because obviously I work on a bunch of things. I've never cried so much working on video. When you're hearing these stories, and it's true. And I know you're humble, but you're a big part of this and what you bring to the table. And I know you're so humble, like even at the luncheon when I'm like, go talk to people. I don't want to bother them. I'm like,
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And so from that standpoint, it's interesting because I've known you for so many decades. That was a newer thing, knowing that I can't refer to you as Sue. Like, so to people out there, I think you're nervous whether you say Native American or Indian. Can you give us a little bit of some guidelines with that, please, Jimmy?
Yeah, and I learned this from my mom, Beverly Stabber-Warren, who is a great advocate, and both my brother and I learned from her. But what are we called? She mentions very eloquently that they still don't know who we are in 2023. And that's an element where people go, oh, what do we call you now? Are you a Native American, American Indian, Indigenous, Sioux, or Lakota? It's all these titles that we've had. And I tend to start leaning towards Indigenous, because Indian came from what a lost explorer that many people know as Columbus was lost in the Caribbean. He never did step foot in America. So to say that he discovered America is just wrong, factually, because he was in the Caribbean and then what is now known as Colombia in South America. So again, when you have those perspectives of knowing who you are, and I'm so glad that I had that growing up in Phoenix, Arizona. I didn't get to grow up on my homelands in South Dakota, Pine Ridge Reservation in particular. That happened because when my parents got married in 1962, Rapid City, South Dakota was still not allowing Indian people to rent homes in Rapid City. So they were still ending their No Indians Allowed signs back then, similar to the African American experience in the South. So my mom recalls seeing those No Indians Allowed signs and wondered why are they don't want us in their store or their restaurant. And then her grandfather at the time, 75 years ago, said, because they don't know who we are. Well, today, many people still don't know who we are. And that's evidenced by the allowance of having mascots, for instance, in the Super Bowl was very frustrating. The leagues, the NFL, asked the Kansas City fans not to do the chant. And I said, yeah, good luck with that. So, it's ingrained in their culture. They think it's appropriate. And it's so personal to them that they don't like Indigenous people that are offended by it. They attack us. So I know it's a frustration that we have to deal with just being identified in America today. Who are we, Native Americans or what? I'm leaning towards Indigenous because by the academic definition, we are indigenous to this land for thousands and thousands of years. So again, it was kind of a referral from watching my past film work where the Fox producers saw, oh, this is what we want. We want to go more in depth than just addressing the mascot issue in and of itself. We want to tell the true story in terms of what are the perspectives and realities of Indian country in contemporary United States. So that was wonderful to have that opportunity to co-produce and write that piece. And we did a power drive to Pine Ridge so we could get the on-location shots that I think was very powerful, to the point where we were nominated for 3 sports Emmys, and one of them was for cinematography at Pine Ridge. So it was a wonderful experience being able to share my perspectives on Thanksgiving. Pre-game Fox NFL, where over 30 million people viewed that pre-game show. So I was able to educate some folks on Thanksgiving before they watched football and had their turkey.
It could have been a better intro. We're going to hit that. Thank you, Jimmy. That's perfect.
Many more helpings on the way as we consider our history on Thanksgiving Day and the understanding on how using Indian mascots truly impacts Native American tribes.
The Washington Redskins. These days, it sounds shocking when you hear someone say that, doesn't it? Well, the Washington football team had that name before they were the Washington football team. It dates back to the early 1930s when they were the Boston Redskins. After decades of complaints and in the rise of racial awareness this summer, the team decided to move on from that name. But as former NFL player Jim Warren, a Lakota tribal member who's now a Native activist, wants us all to understand, no longer using nicknames that Indigenous people find offensive and dropping the use of their likeness as mascots is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to understanding the plight of Native Americans today.
I I never did play for a team with a native mascot, but I played against teams with native mascots. So obviously I was a target of people that wanted to say things like scalp the Indian or cut your hair. When we hear that term red skin, we know that it's a term of our pelts, our scalps, that were bounties that were paid to bounty hunters. This negative imagery is getting most of the press, yet there's deeper issues in Indian country. We learn a lot about genocide in other countries, but we don't learn about the genocide that happened here. Back in 1890, the 7th Cavalry really wanted to get us back for Custer's last stand. When you look at the Wounded Knee gravesite, my family is number 18 on that list of families that perished that day. Being an American citizen, many of us don't have that experience of visiting a mass grave, of feeling that trauma from many generations ago. Pine Ridge, my home reservation, is the poorest county in the United States. So the average family income is under $10,000 per year. Unfortunately, Indian country has the highest rate of COVID-19 in the world. And when I go home and I hear the people that are passing away just because they can't keep themselves warm, that's something that's very challenging. When you think of Paha Sapa, which means Black Hills, that's our sacred land. U.S. policy saw that our culture, our ceremonies were savage and heathen. So we could have been singing a song for happy birthday or a wedding, and they saw it as war drums. Black Elk said it would take 7 generations to heal our circle after Wounded Knee. So as we gather on this special holiday, let's give thanks for inclusion. Let's give thanks for culture. Let's give thanks for who we are as two-leggeds.
Indeed, let's give thanks for how far we've come, while also being thankful for the wisdom to recognize there's much more ground we need to cover. As Warren told us, simply dropping mascot nicknames and thinking the problem is solved is akin to no longer doing blackface and believing that solves racism.
I was pretty excited when I mentioned Rod. I've known Rod for 32 years now. Met him when I first came out to Arizona. And I got to tell you, the Giving Forest, this gentleman right here lives in the Giving Forest. Through 32 years, his background has been tremendous in just the different things he's done to help people. And I'm excited to have Rod share that with us today. So Rodney, welcome. Welcome to the Giving Forest. I appreciate you taking the time. And I guess, hey, Rodney, I don't really have a good recollection of how all your mentorship and where you found that inspiration to do what you've done for 27 years. Can you kind of tell us where everything started? What was the impetus with your first receiving mentorship, and what fueled everything for you?
Yeah, I'm kind of living that storybook of life. Started off in inner city Denver, our family. I have one brother, 19 months older than me. My mom and dad, and we started off in inner city Denver, and then we moved north to Thornton, Colorado. And I was kind of a troubled kid. I was already starting to ditch school, and I didn't have really much direction, and I just was kind of like just getting by. And I'll be darned, when I was 8 years old, all my friends were involved in a youth football camp, and I actually went to watch. 8 years old, went to watch him in the summer, and one of the pro athletes there, said, "Young man, why aren't you in the camp?" And I said, "Well, I'm here to watch my friends." And he's like, "Well, why aren't you in the camp?" And I said, "Well, I don't have the money." And that pro athlete walked me to the registration table and paid my entry fee, and it was a life-changing experience. The positive reinforcement, the encouragement of the athletes. I'll never forget the first question of the camp with all of us pulled together. And it was more of how many of you in here would like to play professional football? And I watched all the other kids raise their hand, and so I figured I was supposed to raise my hand, and I raised my hand as well. But by the end of that 3 days, that's kind of what I did. I set my goal for that. Yeah, and it was exciting. I a second team All Big 8 for a couple years. As I say, I had a cup of coffee in the NFL. I spent a little time with the Raiders and the Chiefs, and you remember when I was 8 years old, I raised my hand, and that was my goal, to play pro football like that guy asked me, and motivated me, and my teacher and mentor believed in me, and it was a living the dream, no doubt about it. As I do some consulting for charities along the way, I had a gentleman present this idea in the music industry. Due to the budget cuts at the junior high and high school levels, these music programs in communities really struggle. And he had this vision of allowing kids to have an after-school program that taught them about the full spectrum of the music industry, of all the jobs available, all the things in the music industry. Everybody wants to be the drummer. Everybody wants to be a singer. Everybody wants to, get that fame and sell 1 million records and different things. But, not everybody makes it. Same with the NFL. Just because you get a Division I scholarship doesn't mean you're going to play in the NFL. And I really love the concept. And he had to step away from it. And I asked him if I can run with his idea. For me, being in the military charity, being in the at-risk youth and sports and education camps and mentorship, I had a real fulfilling experience. But this is something that was challenging to myself, having me step out of my own box. And we created Mobile Music Institute, which is an after-school program for 15 to 18-year-olds.
We just want to thank Rod for joining us today. We look forward to having him back again. And do you have anything on the way out, Yogi or Rod, that you want to say?
Rodney, I mean, when I told Rich I have somebody who knows a little bit about nonprofits, 501c3s, you certainly hit the bullseye, buddy. No one better. No one better. I really appreciate you.
Well, I'm grateful. Even the recognition from you and your friendship for 32 years, Rich, you coming in and out of my life over the years and allowing me to be a part of this. I'm forever grateful. I've lived the hard knocks. I've built my own. I've consulted for others. I have a wealth of knowledge, of real life experience, licking envelopes, addressing envelopes. I have the whole spectrum of this thing, and I hope that I'm able to share that with people that want to give back and make it have an impact.
The MMI experience is led by a team with over 50 years of philanthropy and service in communities throughout the United States and around the world. Our leadership focuses on bringing a team of like-minded individuals together who understand what it takes to have a powerful impact in the music industry. MMI's mission is to create an after-school opportunity for high school students in San Diego with plans to expand to other cities throughout the country.
My name is Antonio. I'm Robert.
Hi, my name is Blanca Rubio.
I'm Ben Rubio. My name is Emmanuel Everett.
I'm Jackie. My name is Jada Singleton.
My name is Angelica.
My name is Edgar Alvarez.
I'm Luis Garcia Rey.
The 6-week program provides students with the ability to choose a genre, form a band, and proceed in a fashion that will allow them to understand all aspects of creating a song and melody, production and live sound development, understand the business behind the business, and performing live. Basically, we want to give the students a comprehensive, multifaceted understanding of the wide variety of options available to them to thrive in the world of music. Launching our first...
We're thrilled to have you on. Obviously, what you've done, you've been around for a long time. We watched you earlier on in our younger years at the Olympics, and very exciting to have you on the program, and kind of wanted to just run through, from the beginning part of your life to the middle part, and then kind of at the end, kind of what you're doing now and how you've changed. I would say changed basically skating, the equipment, at least the skates. I from what I watched and researched, obviously. So, just please, do you want to start out kind of in the early years, in the beginning years?
Yeah, man, just sports have been a huge part of my life from the very beginning. And as you mentioned, that's why I feel so passionately about it, for kids to get into sport, because sport really has shaped my life. I started off playing pretty much every single sport there was. I swam, I played basketball, I did the tennis circuit. The only thing I really didn't do was golf, but I played baseball, I played soccer, I speed skated, I bike raced. So I really tried a lot of different things, and a lot of those different sports shaped my personality, shaped my life, shaped my direction of what I wanted to do as a person on this planet. So, but yeah, I did the three sports that I kind of did through high school and kept kind of at it, and I kept pursuing were soccer. I played varsity soccer at Glenbrook North High School in Northbrook, Illinois. I played varsity baseball at the same high school, and then I speed skated. And I started off in speed skating. My parents didn't like hockey parents, which is ironic because, as you can see, my son plays hockey for St. Cloud State right now.
Oh, nice.
And is looking to go pro. My daughter speed skates, so we keep ice in our family. But my parents didn't like the hockey parents and how rowdy they were and kind of sometimes obnoxious, which now in my 50s, I totally get.
I was an Islanders and Rangers fan, so they'd climb over the board some games. So
yeah, and I grew up in Chicago, so you can imagine the New York and Chicago. Yeah, we're pretty passionate fans. But so I tried speed skating, and I had a passion for going fast. I love to do everything fast. So I had to ride my bike fast, skateboard fast, now drive fast, skate fast. So yeah, I started to turn left my whole life, go around in circles, and 4 Olympic Games and World Championships later. And yeah, and I married my wife is a speed skater, 5-time gold medalist, Bonnie Blair.
Yeah.
So we've kept speed skating in our family, and it's what we feel passionate about.
Because my whole life has been about tenths and hundredths of a second, and when you look at hockey through a little bit of different lens like I do, having raced all my life, now it's basically racing a lot of times in each shift. So every second counts. You have to have the best equipment if you want to optimize your potential on the ice. If I get beat by you because you train better, you're stronger than me, you're faster than me, no problem, I shake your hand and walk away. But if I get beat on technology, and especially by something that I didn't have access to, I'm not a happy guy. After my skating career was over, I went into professional skating coaching for a couple different teams, Chicago Blackhawks and the Dallas Stars Farm Club. I was asking players to do certain things on the ice. And then I went to demo the drill, and I couldn't move. I was restricted, and I realized that I didn't have a product to perform on. So I actually flew up to Calgary, Canada to see one of the best boot manufacturers, Scott Van Horn, and asked him to make me a pair of custom skates. And I really was looking for skates that I thought I could coach and teach these high-level skaters how to perform moves and be free and have natural movement on the ice. 3 days later, I came out with a pair of skates. When I got home, I had the key to the Pettit National Ice Center in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, opened up the door, turned on a few lights good enough to see. I skated at 1 o'clock in the morning. From a first step on the ice, I just felt more stable, more natural movement, was able to flow on the ice, and basically threw up my hands in the air and said, this is it. The execution of the skate was dialed in to the T in only 3 days, and I never went back to skating on anything different. Basically knew that we had something pretty special from that moment on. So from that, I developed a hybrid hockey skate, which turned into MLX, where we realized we had a great product. Then we merged with Easton, and we got an incredible product now. The Mako skate allows for freedom of movement, allows for you to get to the front of the skate where you can apply downforce and really corner very, very hard. It's unbelievable how fast it is on the ice. The stability and the fit are out of this world and will allow players to optimize their potential by having natural movement and having flow and having feel on the ice. Hockey's ready for a quantum leap in skates, and once people understand what a high-performance piece of equipment feels like on their feet, they'll never go back.
Skate or race outside of Sofia Karsik of Poland.
Excited and that.
Expect her to be very fast. It is 100. That's the best part of her race.
Bonnie has a very good opening 100 meters. She gets off that line. You can see her anticipate that gun.
All right, she's under it by 200.
When she takes off in you, she's gone apparently, right?
Yeah, the funny part most people don't know is she was ahead by .02 at the 100 meters, and that's what she ended up winning that race.
Parsik just dropping off. It's all Bonnie Blair. Here she comes. The time to beat is 39:12. This place is going crazy. And here she comes.
Now she's got to sit back and not scratch. You get try too hard to get up on your toes.
39:12. She got it. She got it by 200.
That's
fantastic
amazing.
time. You wonder if it was just that first 100 meters where she
200ths of a second. It's crazy.
Yeah, amazing.
Is that exciting?
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Giving Forest. We're very excited about our show today. This is a place where you come to learn about nonprofits and people doing great things in our world. And today we're excited to focus on Arizona Urban Youth Excel. And we have some great guests with us today. We have Phyllis Barbie, who is a very successful entrepreneur, an amazing artist. She is the GOAT in pickleball, if anybody needs a challenge. And she spends most of her life in the philanthropic world. She is one of my favorite humans on the planet. So we have Phyllis Barbie. Welcome, Phyllis.
Thank you.
And then we have Andre Wadsworth, a legend, a football stud. We're going to talk about a little bit of his career and what he did. I feel honored to know him and be around him and what he does in this world and what he accomplishes and how he inspires people, I think is amazing. So we're excited to have you on, Andre. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to be a pickleball goat one day.
Well, you have the person next to you to teach you, rumor.
I know. My daughter and her boyfriend are getting into it, and so
nice. My suggestion is don't bet with Phyllis. Don't. If she brings up betting, I'd avoid that.
Rich, I'll teach you too. Come on over.
I would love to learn.
I want to learn too.
Okay, Mark. That makes 4. That's all we need.
We got a team. We got a game. And then we have Anthony Hall. Anthony Hall is just a wonderful man. He was a great athlete in his own respect in the day. I've gotten to know him over the years, and just the huge heart, funny, loving, and kind. And he's where the rubber meets the road with the young youth that we're going to talk about. So we're going to have Anthony kind of speak to that a little bit. And of course, we have Mark Yagoda, Yogi. Yogi, how you doing, buddy?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm hanging in there, buddy. A little under the weather today, but I'm glad to be in the forest.
But he pushed through. There we go. Anthony, sorry, welcome. I didn't let you say hi.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. And also, I see y'all making this team of pickleballs. Can I be like the cheerleader or whatever? Because I'm not.
As long as you don't dress up as one.
Yeah, there you go.
I know.
Oh, that is just fabulous. Well, obviously, we're here with Urban Youth Excel, and what do we want to do first is we kind of just want to go through and talk a little bit about each of you and how you got into it. And we're going to start with you, Phyllis. Obviously, you are a board member, as well as Andre is a board member. But Phyllis, maybe just talk about kind of your why, how you got into this, and where it started for you.
Well, Urban Youth Excel has been out in the community for probably now 10 years. And we have been growing slowly and wanting to come about letting the public know who we are and what we are. So we're growing rapidly. And we had our first event last year, but excuse me, what we do is we work with the inner city kids. And these kids that we work with have given their life to Christ. And we want to walk alongside of them and make sure that when they ask questions and take them to camp and e-groups, which Anthony will explain, I'm sure, more about the e-groups and the church that represents us and we can take the kids to. So walking alongside of these kids is absolutely amazing. And the kids, watching them grow from when you first meet them 6 months down the road, a year down the road, it's amazing how they change. And they don't only just change themselves, they change their siblings and they change their mom and dad and their grandpa and grandma. And we have amazing stories on how this has grown in the past few years.
That's fabulous. It's a wonderful organization. You're doing wonderful things. Hey, Andre, I'm gonna play. Thanks for explaining that and sharing that with us, Phyllis. Andre, I'm gonna play that 1 minute video, and then I'm gonna let you kind of do the same thing, just to show people a little introduction for you. So.
This town is always busy working. Day off? Yeah, right. You know who never took a day off? Andre Wadsworth. He couldn't take a day off. He was a walk-on a team full of high school All-Americans.
Wadsworth, he's got the sack. Oh, he's clobbered at the 16. He spun around, he's sacked. He's sacked like a rag doll.
He earned his playing time. And trust me, he made good use of it.
Picked up by FSU.
The way he punished quarterbacks, opposing offenses couldn't stand him.
He's mugged, he's sacked, he's dropped by Wadsworth. 3 sacks. Andre's got the hat trick tonight.
All-American, an ACC Player of the Year in 1997. Not too bad for a walk-on.
You just run that the whole show, Andre? Do you remember that clip now?
No, I don't, but I know the guy that narrated it. His name is Forrest Conley. He was
Forrest Conley said the Seminole Warriors.
6'9", offensive tackle. He was on the national championship team, and actually, he's an actor now. He's been in several movies.
No
and he
kidding.
does a radio show as well. So he lives in Atlanta. I haven't had a chance to talk to him in a while, but
this might be a reason. Reach out to him. That's a great video. I thought he did a great job with that.
Yeah, he did a great job.
And then for the people who don't know, I don't know if we can tell you, but I mean, they can look it up. But from coming from a walk-on, which I actually didn't realize, I just knew you were a stud, but walking on, doing what you do, I knew you had other scholarships, I read, and then you decided to go there, which is a tough program, obviously. And then to do what you did, actually be in the second pick, not the second round, but the second pick in your draft, and picked up a hefty check, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I was very blessed and fortunate. I actually had no idea that I'd play professional sports. Of course, every young man or kid would have aspirations to do so. But, I went to a private school growing up, and my household education was very much the forefront, not sports. And so it was just a bonus on top of bonus on that to actually get a chance to play professionally.
Yeah, and it's and part of our show, obviously, if you were out just doing your spinning rims and things like that, and playing big shooter, you spend so much of your time helping our youth. And then also for the people who don't know, Andre is the head pastor at Impact Church. So he's still, this is what he does for a living. Fortunate enough, like he said, to play for the Cardinals, had an amazing, college career. And so, again, that's why we're happy to be on with you. But more important, it's the man that you are and the heart that you have more than just being the athlete. So, again, we appreciate what you do, Andre.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on here and share a little bit more about UYE.
That sounds perfect. And then we're going to go Anthony. There we go.
Or not.
Now we got you, Anthony. We're so smart.
Hey.
Visual too. Yeah, that's awesome, Anthony. Anthony Hall.
The face of the name. But yes, I had a journey from the South Side Chicago where there was not a lot of positive influences and not a lot of positive examples. I mean, you had some kids that had their families, but most did not. Or they had one member of their family which was working, so still was not in the home to provide that positive influence on their lives. So I was blessed to have both my parents, which they moved me out to Phoenix, Arizona from Southside Chicago to allow for us to have a better opportunity. And so my youth led me to want to pour into youth when I became an adult. I wanted to be that positive example. I wanted to be someone that was allowed a platform to be able to pour into the youth that I didn't have outside of my father or my parents. But then I also got into sports, which thankfully my parents put me in as well because I had anger issues. And so my parents put me in the sports to allow me to release that and helped me become a better man. So with UYE, Urban Youth Excel, it was a beautiful and amazing organization that I was able to come to know and to be able to actually become a part of, because they're doing exactly what I needed when I was younger. They're giving these kids that were like me when I was younger, they're giving them the opportunity to be able to get that great experience, be able to come and know God, and to be able to have the greatest blessing in their life. So my journey just started like these youth that we're pouring into, and came to me being an adult pouring into the youth that I was in the past. I would say a beautiful tapestry when it is flowing and moving, and that's what UYE allows for that.
Not just being in ministry, but to me, everything is about our next generation. Next generation, the kids, and dealing with that. Anthony said it perfect. Just having an area that's safe and a place where kids can go to not only get direction, but a place that's safe. I'm a dad of 4 girls and aging from as old as 20, as young as 12 now. And, if they don't have a constant, adult or parent or role model in their life, there's so many distractions, things that can knock them off course, and not having the programs. And it definitely, the saying, it takes a village. And not just that, because you can have a strong support group at home, but still have challenges at school. And, now if they don't have a strong support group at home, they still, they have the challenges now at school. So now what are they left with? And so when you have UYE that helps with character, direction, not only that, but giving kids encouragement, and not only that's giving encouragement, for lack of better words, loving on them. Kids need to know that they're loved, that they're heard, that not only that, but the things that they're doing, they can be encouraged and strive for better things and to have those opportunities.
Welcome everybody to Giving Forest with Yogi and the Bear. We have Mark Yogi Yagoda with us. How you doing, Mark?
Hey.
And then we're very, very excited about our show. This is our 6th show, season 1. We have 2 fabulous guests on with us today. It should be a 4-hour show, but we're going to squeeze this into our hour. But we have Mr. Cameron Lowe, a former professional baseball player, runs a nonprofit now for former players as well, and we're going to get into all of that. And his friend, Michael Curtis, who I've had the pleasure of knowing for a while. He's the algorithm artist, and we're going to get into what he does. Thank you for your service. He is a veteran and does a lot of things for veterans, as well as the connection with Cameron. So they do that all together. So welcome, Cameron and Michael.
Right on. Thank you.
Good to be here, gentlemen. Good to be here. So I grew up in the Southern California area, right outside of LA, San Fernando Valley. Went to Granada Hills High School, and then went basically right across the street to Cal State Northridge to play college, and ended up going there for 3 years. Got drafted by the Rangers in 2002. Played with them until 2008, and in 2007, I herniated a disc between L4 and L5, and I thought it was probably going to be the end of my career. Right on. And so that's actually what led me to the Ball Players Association. I was retired, and Cody and I were doing Halo, and somebody found out about us and said, "Hey, would you like to be on the board for this Ball Players Association?" It's 99 years old this year.
Wow.
We're preparing for our 100th year. I don't know how many other nonprofits there are, period, that are 100 years old. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, what I want to do is I want to shoot it over to Michael, have Michael tell a little bit about his origin story. Like we said, thank you for your service, Michael. He is a veteran. Part of your connection with him, Cameron, because you Obviously, I've learned from you that your families are all veterans, and so it's just where heart is a lot of times to try to help them.
Thank you for your service, Michael. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. You guys were definitely worth it. But now I've been able to turn around and utilize some of this artwork to start helping some other people in the Valley.
That's what I was going to circle back to, because what you do and how many hours it takes, what you do and what you are doing to raise money, obviously, that's the part that the people don't know. So step back for a quick second, Mr. Algorithm Artist, and explain what you do so they understand what you do.
When you say artwork, they have no idea, and they're going to be blown away.
Okay, so man, this is where it's going to get a little weird. So in 2000, so I've never had art in my life. The people that know me growing up, I sketch stuff and would design, a logo or do a flyer or something, but never had the patience or the time or the skill level to draw anything like you see behind me, which are my originals. And then I had this dream. It was a quick one. It was how to take metric measurements from a photograph and how to apply them to a drawing surface using a simple algorithm. And it took off from there. I started with Joe Louis, Jack Johnson, then I got into Ali, and I thought, well, shoot, this is working. Might as well try to do, top 10 boxing legends of all time. And so that's why you see a lot of boxing and the first part of my drawings here. And then got into the partner of mine, hooked me up with the UFC, a couple of guys from the UFC, Mark Goddard and Mike Beltran has been awesome for me. And then Ernie Shavers, he's been amazing for me, recently passed away. And then
great boxer. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, the Mike Tyson of his era, Yeah, here, this is the one I just recently did, Mike Beltran. Let me get this kind of squared away here. But so the background, his face, his beard, and his forearms is pencil. The rest of it is all charcoal.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Crazy good. Hey, Cameron, let me ask you. Oh, sorry.
I got one right here too.
Yeah, that's
my man.
There it is.
But I got the math on mine.
Oh, there's the math. Yeah, hold that up for a second. For everybody watching, you could see the math around the edge of that. Yeah.
It's hard to see with this camera, but there is.
Yeah, you got it.
All
the
this math up and down here, and you can obviously see how 27.3 plus 17.4 equals beard braid. You see that? You see how that correlates right there?
Wow.
I got it figured out. It's easy.
See, I told you it's not that difficult.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah. He just broke that down. Anybody listening can do it now.
In the outside world, pick your poison. And for 56 minutes, we just wanted to have that time of positivity and to share what's right with the world and how people are helping other people. And there's a lot of different ways to give. You can give time, mentorship, you can give money, you can give a thank you. So we just want to illuminate those efforts, and for at least 56 minutes to have just positivity, and you helped us achieve that today for sure. Thank you.
Sponsor.